considered one of the best guitar players in the world.
Oh, hello and welcome. You didn't expect this, did you? I didn't expect this either. Now today, as you can read by the title, we're going to be doing the Jimi Hendrix Experience retrospective. Let's begin. Born Johnny Allen Hendrix in 1942, later to be renamed James Marshall Hendrix, he wasn't able to get his first real guitar until the age of 15. After that, he strictly disciplined himself and tried to learn the instrument by ear to the best of his abilities. Around the age of 19, he was sent to military school after being caught in stolen vehicles. He was given an ultimatum between prison time or the military. Chose the latter. After being in the service for only 1 year out of the 3 he had signed up for, he was honorably discharged for not being apt to be in the service. After that, a friend he met in the service and himself went to Nashville to invade the music scene there. This is where he learned the esteemed playing with your teeth trick. After he felt like he had enough with this scene, he migrated to Harlem, New York. This is where he really got the ball rolling with his career, playing with such notable acts such as Little Richard and the Isley Brothers. After not even being content with this, he moved to Greenwich Village, New York. Here he met Chaz Chandler, the bassist of the Animals. At this time, Chaz felt like managing bands, so that was what he was doing. He saw the potential in Jimmy and sent him to London in 1966. Here's where he met bassist Noel Redding and drummer Mitch Mitchell. It was Noel Redding who actually suggested that he drop the MY in his name and add an I to a name to make it sound more exotic.
By the time the first album came out that May, the Jimi Hendrix Experience had established themselves throughout Europe.
All Your Experience came out within a couple of months of Sgt. Pepper, and Sgt. Pepper became like a watershed album. And so there we were with All Your Experience coming out, right on the coattails of a very innovative album by the Beatles, which really did make a significant change. The albums became taken as a much more serious piece of work in them days.
If you can just get your...
Recorded after the trio formed, this is a landmark in music. Now, some may argue this is his most well-known work, and for good reason. It's a staple in the hippie/summer of love movement, and it has many, many classics. Now, I'm probably going to get flogged for this, but it is my least favorite of the Experience's catalog. I know, wrong opinion. The record just feels a tad less ambitious than the other two in my opinion, but it's still a great record. Like what, a weak Jimi Hendrix Experience record's like a good Cream record?
Hilarious and original. Hilarious and original. Hilarious and original. Hilarious and original.
Now the sonic influences on this Goliath are vast. From blues to psychedelia to hard rock and jazz, just to name a few. They culminate to make this exciting landscape of sound. Now, they also experimented with pedals and other techniques to get otherworldly sounds on this record. One of my favorite tracks on this record is Manic Depression. It's a very bluesy, psychedelia-laced track, and it's in 3/4 time, and Mitch Mitchell has this wonderful jazz-influenced drum groove on it. And its lyrics are pretty damn depressing too, so raw XD, I guess. The title track is also amazing, filled with a bunch of studio tomfoolery such as backwards guitars and drums. Also has a nice A-flat piano drone for a good portion of the song. Are you experienced yet? Now this track ends both the US and the UK release of the album. I'm more accustomed to listening to the 97 UK re-release, and it has arguably its most prominent and famous tracks, which were used as singles initially. I don't think I could get away without speaking of Purple Haze and Hey Joe. Now to some, Purple Haze is the defining psychedelic rock track, and I couldn't argue with that statement. It's heavy, it's trippy, and it really deserves its place in history. Now, it starts off with this tritone interval between Noel and Jimmy, with Jimmy playing the B flat and Noel playing the E, and them both leaping up the octave. So the intro gives the track a very sharp and fierce sound. Hey Joe is actually a cover, originally penned by Billy Roberts. O.J. Simpson the musical is very bluesy. Now it's not one of my favorites, but I still adore the track. And why I call this track O.J. Simpson the Musical, well, I'm pretty sure you could solve this case. This album was very successful, so the band went on to record another one.
How much do you rely on gimmicks?
Gimmicks, here we go again. Gimmicks, man. I'm tired of people saying we rely on gimmicks. What is this? The world is nothing but a big gimmick, isn't it? Wars, napalm bombs, and all that. People get burned up on TV, and it's nothing but a big gimmick.
Axis, Bold as Love. Now, this record was made to fulfill the group's contract with doing 2 records by the end of the year. Despite this time constraint, Hendrix had a perfectionist streak in the studio, and this often led to him doing multiple takes of a single song. As luck would have it, of course, the record was almost delayed because Hendrix left side 1, mind you the fully mastered version, in the back of a taxi. And they had to remaster the entire thing in one long overnight session. That must have been stressful.
When we did Axis Bold as Love, we brought the master tapes home this night from the studio, and Jimmy went off to a party and took them with him to play it to some friends. These are the masters. Come back in the taxi, he lost the B-side somewhere. He got back with only the A-side of the album, so we had to go in there and we made arrangements for cutting time. And we went back in the studio the next night and mixed the whole album again in 4.5 hours.
Most of the tracks here were written with what they could possibly experiment with in the studio in mind, so this led to not a lot of it being a concert staple. The track Castles Made of Sand is one of my favorite tracks, period. It makes me cry on a good day and gives me an emotional breakdown on a bad day. It's a feels trip galore. Now, personally, I think the song's about disappointment and lost futures now time keeps slipping forward and forward, never to return to a single point in our past, to which we desperately cling on to. We try to escape this meaning in the upcoming march of death, but no one will escape death, and we'll all return to the void one day to be consumed by the nothingness. I mean, it's sad. Little Wing is also a feels trip, and it's very popular in the Hendrix repertoire. Now, If 6 Was 9 is another track I enjoy very much. It's also a very interesting track too, the longest on the record, and it also describes the cultural landscape of the late 60s. Now, I used to sweep this record under the rug a tad, but now I'm really starting to see its genius. It's like a more condensed Are You experience. It's a very good axis for the band, and it feels more bolder, and I love it for that. Yes, I just did that. Deal with it.
Yeah, that whole LP means so much. You know, it wasn't just slopped together. Every little thing that you hear on there means something. You know, it's not no game that we're playing, trying to blow the public's mind or so forth. It's a thing that we really, really mean. You know, it's part of us.
After recording Axis, they went on to record my favorite album of all time, Electric Ladyland. This is just a huge, expansive swan song of a record. Hendrix went above and beyond with the recording of this record, with his perfectionist attitude and the multitude of musicians playing for him. This actually ultimately led to Chaz Chandler to stop producing for him due to the claustrophobic atmosphere. Due to these circumstances, and Noel also playing in another band at the time, he ended up playing for less than half of the record, but Mitch ended up playing for a good portion of the record. Some of the collaborators on the record include Al Kooper, who played with Bob Dylan and The Who, Jack Cassidy, who played with Jefferson Airplane, and Steve Winwood. Gypsy Eyes is one of his most underrated tracks. It's bluesy, it's very psychedelic, has a pulsing drum beat for a good portion of the song, and very snare heavy. Crosstown Traffic has always been a favorite track of mine. It's very heavy yet popish, also very in your face. It has a makeshift kazoo in it, which gives it a really fun edge. Now we have to talk about the band's highest selling single, All Along the Watchtower. Now this track is a cover, if you didn't know, by the one and only Bob Dylan. I'll do a retrospective on him, but that'll take me a good 5 eons. Bob Dylan actually preferred Hendrix's cover to his own. Personally, I love both versions to death. I just choose whichever one I'm in the mood for. Now, I'm going to have to stop talking about this record here, but I want to bring up my favorite track, Luda Slight Return, and coincidentally the band's last track. I just love this track to death. It's very wah heavy, and it's just Go listen to it. Tension started to rise in the terrific threesome, ultimately leading to Noel quitting the band.
checked into the hotel, I went upstairs, and there's some journalist in the restaurant or the bar where I was having a meal and whatever, and he said, "Oh, you still with the band?" I said, "What do you mean?" "Of course I'm still with the band." He said, "Didn't you read the paper or something?" He said that Hendrix had announced to the press that he was going to extend his band by adding brass and keyboard, etc., etc., and he was thinking of adding other members. And I said, "What do you mean?" You know, because Hendrix had said nothing to me. So I did the gig and left. That was it.
Now, Hendrix started to experiment with the format of the band, expanding it and even forming a new trio with Buddy Miles and Billy Cox called the Band of Gypsies. This record is very groove and improv heavy, akin to Voodoo Child on Electric Ladyland. So if you like that, I'd say give this record a listen. I wasn't really into funk music at the time, so I kind of slept on Band of Gypsies, but this record's really starting to grow on me. After the Band of Gypsies disbanded, the OG trio was meant to get back together, but Jimmy thought the best course of action was to leave Noel out of the band, so he kept Billy in. He wrote a bulk of the material for his newly planned record during this period, and he also toured the US and Europe. We also have this tiny little performance on August the 19th, 1969, which Hendrix did called Woodstock. I'm not sure how many people have heard of this performance, but nonetheless, he did this thing where he made the song of the United States into a louder song. I wouldn't know any of this though, I'm from Canada. The performance was perceived as an anti-war song with the guitars emulating the sounds of conflict. But Hendrix upholds that this was not political in the slightest.
When you mention the national anthem and talk about playing it in any unorthodox way, how
That's
dare
not unorthodox.
anyone...
That's not unorthodox.
It isn't unorthodox?
No. I thought it was beautiful. But then there you go.
Oh, but don't you find that there's a certain mad beauty in unorthodoxy?
Now, Hendrix's drug use throughout his career is no well-kept secret. Unfortunately, on the night of September 17th, 1970, he asphyxiated on his own vomit and choked to death. Now, grab your tinfoil hats because there's a lot of talk about foul play involved in the death of Jimi Hendrix. This could be related to an incident where Hendrix's manager, I'm not saying any names, I'm not going back to witness protection, had Hendrix kidnapped for 2 days and rescued him himself to make Hendrix more indebted to said manager. With this display of facts and logic, some believe the manager had Hendrix taken care of. Me, myself, I don't know. It could be true, it could be not. What is truth and how do we prove it? Did Bush do 9/11? Find out next time on AMC's The Walking Dead.
The British Internal Revenue Service was chasing them for taxes on their presumably monumental earnings, up to $100,000 per concert. In fact, the money was in the Bahamas, taken there by Hendrix's elusive manager, Mike Jeffrey.
Now, it's quite sad to see where his career could have gone if he would have stayed alive. Maybe he could have topped Electric Ladyland. Who knows? Now, after his death, a slew of posthumous albums were released. The only one that, to an extent, captured the vision he had for the fourth record was First Rays of the New Rising Sun. Released in 1997, it's alright, I guess. I mean, had Hendrix been alive, probably this would have been much grander, but it's, you know, obviously it feels unfinished. It's a bunch of his unfinished works for the record. I don't have much more to say on it. It's Hendrix. Listen to it if you're interested. Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, don't forget to curb stomp that like button, American History X style, of course. And I'll see you in the next one. Don't be late, because Lord knows, I'm a voodoo child.
Subscribe to the Downfall Network.